like we've been touting about how great ChatGPT and AI tools are, would you say there are some downsides?
ChatGPT is going to give the same answer to the majority of people, depending on the prompt. I think where value is for a marketer is really doing some personal deeper diving, listening to your community and being part of conversations on various channels, depending on what you want to learn, right? And just having like another different nuanced perspective based on like your own professional research and your own sources. If you only use ChatGPT as your source, it's like writing a paper and sourcing one resource. Like that, you would fail because there's so many different perspectives. So that would be my one warning is like you can't just rely on that. It has to be in your tool belt, but it can't be your only tool.
To kind of get into the podcast, before I kind of start off, I do want to ask the very, very important question is, who exactly is Ashley? How did we kind of get you on board here? Where were you kind of before that?
Yeah, my path was a little bit unconventional. I started out in office management and executive assistance right out of college. I had an amazing boss, an SVP of technology for the engineering and development team of the marketing side of a for-profit education company. And so I cut my teeth on managing his team and being part of the conversations. That became project management for engineering and development. So website, backend, this is when databases were still around. And then hardware. Fast forward, I was introduced to social media. I started to create some content for some small brands, worked my way through like content development, content marketing, social media management, influencer relationships, and slowly progressed into agency life where just sort of added layers to my skill set, Google Ads, performance-based media strategies, a little bit of PR, and then obviously own channels, email, SMS, that sort of stuff. And yeah, here I am, and I'm, doing all things growth marketing. And I think my history definitely leads me to be, I know a lot about, I know a little bit about a lot of it in marketing, which is really good. It leads really well to growth marketing as a whole.
Well, as someone who knows nothing about marketing, let's say, let's try to get more out of these kind of topics that we have here. So to kind of kickstart, we want to do more about the basics of marketing. And just to give a very baseline over here, we know it's a process where business can communicate, create and deliver offerings that kind of provide value for customers, clients, partners, and basically the entire society. But can you tell us more about marketing in general? Like what exactly is it and how do businesses use it to their advantage?
Yeah. I mean, in essence, marketing is just all about distributing your brand and content to create measurable growth for a company. I do believe, and especially in SaaS, it's a non-linear, sometimes linear driver of sales, right? For e-commerce, it's a little bit easier for it to be linear when you're measuring like return on ad spend and bottom of funnel sort of performance. But yeah, it's meant to connect with your audience. And if you're going to look at the basics of funnel, right, you have like awareness of your brand, it's engagement, and then there's action, and then there's loyalty in your community management. So that's marketing in a nutshell.
And what would be marketing not in a nutshell?
Marketing not, well, that's a whole can of worms. There's lots of segments of marketing. There's content marketing, right? If you want to go even a layer up, there's own media, earned media, and paid media. And your job as a marketer is to make sure you have a really good diversity in those specific channels that fall in those categories. So if you wanted to look at like content marketing, that's a big hot topic right now, or it has been for a while. It's just creation of content and distributing this content to attract your audience. I could include anything as like your website, right? Videos, blogs, case studies, the copy that you put out on social media. There's social media marketing, and obviously that's been new for the past decade, a little bit over a decade. That's pushing out your content on various forms of social media platforms. So LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok's a big one. It might not be in the next quarter or two. And then another type of marketing, that falls under the earned category is email. It's an owned channel. SMS, that's where you handle like your customer relationships, right? It's direct communication with your prospects and your customers, depending on where they are in the funnel. You could, again, it's a distribution channel for your content and your brand. There's influencer marketing, which I view more as a hybrid channel. It's both performance and earned, because it is almost, there is a pay-to-play aspect of it, where you partner with individuals, you pay them a certain amount for a certain result or for certain awareness. But there's also the, natural partnerships and ambassadors that occur through just like loving your product, right? And then there's obviously public relations. That's definitely still a part of the modern day ecosystem of marketing, because they have connections that a lot of, you just can't source on your own. And that really builds credibility and amplifies like major launches and awareness. And then finally, there's performance marketing. Obviously, that's all the paid channels. And performance marketing, a lot of people ask, like, what is performance? Essentially, it is marketing that is supposed to perform in a certain way. So like pay per click, Google ads, a video ad, it's supposed to pay for a certain amount of like impressions, certain video views, certain level of clicks and return on investment.
And I know there are kind of like all these are different types of marketing, but hypothetically, and if I was to say someone, again, hypothetically, someone who didn't know anything at all in marketing, if I did come to you as like, let's say a consultant saying, hey, I need some help. I'm trying to start a business that is maybe plumbing. Let's say my name is Mario. I have a brother named Luigi. We have a plumbing business and we kind of want to know more about marketing in general. Out of these different types of marketing, which one would you say I should put more time and investment in?
Oh, yeah. The customers you have right now and understanding your customers right now, understanding how your existing customers have found you. So doing a discovery and then double tapping on your own channels. So your email, right? Your website. And then once you have a good foundation, that's when I would launch more of the performance or growth tactics, outside growth tactics. So Google Ads, just knowing that industry, that's a very bottom of funnel. People are searching for plumbers. They're ready to convert. So then I would just look into channels that are meant to drive bottom of funnel metrics.
All right. So Luigi and I, we thought about it. We're kind of going ahead with this, these different types of marketing channels. But again, we are very new to all of this. What do you think are some of the common mistakes that we would make and how would you kind of fix them?
Yeah. The number one, it's so generic, is just like no clear priority, no clear goal. That's always the number one. An OKR. What is your objective, and how are you going to measure reaching this objective? What are your key results? So that would be the number one. And then everything that I do would always go back to supporting that OKR.
Okay. Are there any other mistakes that marketers make, or?
Yeah. Okay. I can give a list. I'll give two more. Not tracking or sharing these KPIs. So depending, like if it's just you and your brother, even then, like transparency is crucial because the right hand has to know what the left hand is doing. And I see it in time and time again. Small companies, large companies, transparency is not there and silos are built. And in order to be efficient, in order to be effective, you have to share it. So it's as easy as creating a scorecard or a dashboard and just checking in weekly, like how are you pacing towards your goals? And then also if anything new comes in that you think would be an awesome growth tactic or would provide measurable results, that it offers a time and space to review the OKR. Does it still fit with your business? Do we need to pivot? And then just offers up that space for conversation and for growth. A third one would definitely be like not being data informed. So I don't like to be like, I'm data driven. And there's been a lot of conversations in the past year, especially as like new tools and technologies are launched and we're just like inundated with tons of data, and it can almost cause like an analysis paralysis and so much data to look at. But I would say, optimizing based on like gut feelings or because one tool told you to do something instead of being data informed about the whole ecosystem. So for example, like you pivot because a new tool or a new platform is trending, without understanding, like, even if your audience is on that, but just because people are like, this is the next frontier, you should do this. And you can insert any new social platform in this particular example. So yeah, not checking in on the data. And this kind of like goes back up to the two mistakes I was talking about before, OKRs and sharing KPIs and tracking KPIs. So definitely being data informed. And then finally, I would say like having a retrospective or post-campaign analysis, whether it's a campaign that's finite, has a start and end date, or if it's an ongoing brand awareness campaign, offering the space to check in every 30, 60, or 90 days and having conversations with your team about what did and what did not work.
I was going to actually just throw in a question earlier, but it's not really part of the topics that we do have here, but it was about the silos that are being built. I do know that a lot of companies kind of just do that and they believe that that's the best way to kind of go about it. But Luigi is one of those people who also do believe in that. How do I kind of convince him that we need to break down some of these silos and have more, let's say, cross-team collaboration?
Yeah. How do you convince someone to break down silos? Well, I would definitely start with an example of where a silo had measurable negative effects on the team, increased spend on resources or spend on a campaign, and how breaking down that silo would have created more efficiency and quicker release to market. So, for example, Luigi has a really cool design concept that he wants to put on your truck and a Google ad. And he goes and he's not, he doesn't interface with the customers as much as you do, Mario. And, but he loves design and he creates something. And he goes and he gets it to the printer and you're like, hold up. Our customers are finding us based on this keyword, or, with my conversation, they're wanting us because of this specific product draw or service draw. Essentially a service differentiator. This needs to be included in this creative because this is what drives results. Well, now Luigi has already progressed to like step 9 of 10 steps. Now you have to backtrack and it's going to cost you and it's going to take more time to launch. So that's an example that I can think of, based on the hypothetical situation of Mario and Luigi.
To be fair, I'm going to carry on with that hypothetical. So I've talked to Luigi. We've kind of figured out what are some of the basics, the types. We kind of understand now what some of the mistakes we could possibly make, and we're trying our best to avoid them. But we want to kind of start off a marketing campaign, and we want to do a very basic kind of marketing campaign. But if you could lead up to maybe like some advanced techniques as well, we would be happy to take that as well.
Well, super basic is just start a campaign brief. Like, I know it sounds so basic and it's boring, but it's a lot of people, especially when you're with founder-led companies or perhaps people who haven't had the rhythm, like the lather, rinse, repeat effect of doing this a lot. A simple campaign brief can be really effective. So one, it's going to ask you, what are you trying to achieve? What's your objective? Who's your target audience? What are the KPIs? How are we going to measure this? What's our budget and what's our timeline? Are we beholden to a certain launch date? What's our creative? What's our what are we trying to put out there? What's the so what element? What's our content framework or strategy? What are the channels? So knowing your target audience and also your creative and your messaging will kind of like tell you in so many ways how you need to distribute this campaign across various channels, and then the execution plan. So just like steps and milestones. So that's the basic. As far as advanced ways to launch a campaign, I would say it really depends on budget. Like, I'm not going to recommend any advanced. If you have some budget, I would and depending on your objective, I would hire an awesome agency. Like, sometimes it's best to just go outsource it I've worked with some fantastic agencies. I've worked with some not so fantastic agencies. And the trick with agency success is managing them and being super, super clear on goals.
I was going to say, when it does come to kind of building this marketing team and campaign itself, should I be building one in-house or outsourcing? But you kind of answered that. But when I do want to, let's say, choose to outsource, how do I know I'm picking the right agency that's probably for me then? What are some of the, let's say, red flags?
Red flags. Well, one, let's go back to how to pick the right agency or how to just do kind of like the culling and the research. You want to look for, it depends. Are you in a localized market? Are you national? Or are you global? So where's your audience? So that's going to automatically filter out a lot of agencies. Two, I would look at agencies that have customers in your industry, because they're going to know the market a little bit better. They're going to be more familiar with the types of people and audience that want this product or service. And then those filters. And then three, online reviews. Like, reviews matter. And especially with the launch of AI, like the Google search can cull a lot of information and bring up reviews and aggregate them into a really ingestible format. So, and then do your reviews. Get a punch list of like top five agencies and call them. Set up calls. That would be how I would go about it. Red flags. So agency red flags. I would say I would ask some hard questions. I would be like, one, their agencies will always want to tout their success. I would ask where they failed. Yeah, I would ask because you have to be honest. And I think as professionals, as marketing professionals, we always want to tout like the wins, but you have to admit the failures, because that's when you learn the most. The second red flag of an agency, I would say, is a flat fee. So like a flat fee, not based on bottom line results, so how you hit your goals, or spend. A lot of agencies set up like a percentage based on your performance spend, because usually there's a correlation between setting up the campaigns, managing the campaigns, so your effort and then output. So anything with a flat fee, like we're going to charge you $20,000 a month, I would steer clear away from those. That's not going to be really valuable until you hit more of like the enterprise level. So those would be my two major red flags.
All right, fair enough again. I do feel like when Luigi and I are kind of taking our business forward, we have now a kind of a firm foundation of what we need to do and what kind of to avoid as well. How do you think we're going to do so far if we kind of don't measure some of our marketing things? Do you feel like we can kind of get by without it, or it's an absolute must?
Yeah, it's the question whether you can get by without measuring any KPIs. That's the question.
In a way, but I'm kind of getting more into how do we kind of differ from the vanity metrics to the actual real metrics?
That's just coming up with like a really thoughtful, like funnel-based content framework. And what I mean that is like, okay, marketing is an ecosystem. You can't always drive bottom, like convert now ads. And that's what I mean by bottom of funnel, like basically asking your user to take an action that directly affects your goals. So, as long as you have a really thoughtful content framework, so you have a video or you have a couple of introductory ads, maybe a couple of like videos with you and Luigi interacting, talking about the business, why you created it, why you're a little bit different. And then second would be like middle funnel. Maybe you have your maybe you have like some social ads where you're gonna take some videos of some of the work that you've done, right? So you're creating the engagement. And then the third or bottom of funnel, right, layer of your content framework would be more of like the Google ads, right? Once people start searching for things, you want to capture them on that search because they're pretty high intent. So I think as long as you have that and you have content and creative and clear like metrics, so video views, clicks to your like social page or clicks to your website or website traffic for the middle funnel, and then actual like form submissions or calls. And as long as you keep to those, like really like a simple funnel approach, you'll be pretty good. Check in every week, every 2 weeks, every month.
All right. I want to dial a little bit back to what you had mentioned about reviews, if you don't mind. I think there was a law or something that came out recently in US where I think reviews written by, let's say, friends and family or fake reviews in such ways might bring about legal action, I believe. So does that mean Luigi and I can't get our moms to write good reviews about us anymore? Or should we try to stick to just customer-centric stuff now?
Well, if your mom is a customer, that's legal. Everyone's doing it. The thing is everyone's doing it. It's just, you got to be really strategic. Like, buy a product, incentivize your whole company to buy a product or to use the service, and then write a review, an honest review. That's all you're asking. Doesn't matter if your customer is part of your team. It's still a customer.
All right. Another thing would be like, how do I make sure that I actually get true customers to leave reviews? Let's say I've been in the business for a while. We've been doing a good job, but we just haven't got a lot of people reviewing us online, but they do tell us in person that they love what we do. So how do I kind of get them to actually write down these reviews without kind of pushing and prodding?
Yeah, that's called a customer onboarding or post-deal nurture workflow. Totally. And that's like past the funnel. That's like in the pool. It could be as simple as creating automation. And this is where I would use tools. People can still do it in Excel spreadsheet. You just check in on it. You just have to make sure the dates correlate. But once you finish a job, you send an email or a text message, you ask them. That would be the easiest way, just making sure it's part of your process, your standard operating procedure. And then the second one is incentivize it. So maybe you're like, hey, if it's regarding plumbing, like, hey, free check, every 2 years, leave a review. We'll give you your next check on X product is on the house. And those would be the two easiest ways. You just have to build it in and re-engage. Mm-hmm.
All right. I kind of ask that question more in a personal side because we've realized that we do actually have a lot of people who actually like our services, but we've never really have them kind of drop an actual review. So we'll try to incorporate that as well. So thank you for that, Ashley.
Yeah. Oh, and also what type of review too? Like you have to pick the review site that's most important to you.
All right. Yeah. Are there, let's say, some top review sites that probably an SEO agency? Because plumbing, I don't know if there are too many plumbing review sites.
Yeah, I know. Well, Google, because it's a localized. Yeah. For SEO, like Trust Radius, like when you're talking about specific like tech, I would go into Trust Radius, G2. To kind of move a little bit ahead of that, you did mention tools in general. Are there, let's say, some marketing tools that you kind of really love and would love to share with us as well? I really don't have a favorite. Like, I think as a marketer, you have to welcome all tools and technology because when you get, depending on if you're one of the first marketers, you have total carte blanche into picking whatever tools based on like whatever marketing you have been served, whatever feedback you have been served by your community telling you, X, Y, and Z are the best tools. It really depends on your business and it really depends on where you are in the business. So for instance, when I just onboarded in my latest role, they've had all their tools in place. So it's my job to make sure that I learn the tools, that I understand how they work, and then use them. If for whatever reason, I always keep a checklist. For whatever reason, they're not serving us. If there's like a gap in needs, or it's not measuring something correctly, or it's just we've pushed it to its limit, it's not serving us, then I just create kind of like a use case for something else, and I'll do my due diligence. But as marketers, I'm agnostic. Before I kind of get into one of the more common, powerful tools, I want to ask a very just casual question. Are there, let's say, 3 books or podcasts or newsletters that you'd like to recommend our viewers and listeners? Yeah. The one book that kind of changed my, it changed my behavior as a marketer and really influenced me to become more of work smarter, not harder. It's the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr. I think that's pretty well known. And that goes deep into, the story of Dell, Gates Foundation, and how they really, and Intel, and how they kept to priorities to just like dominate the market, right? And then there's a newsletter that I really like. It's specific to e-commerce. It's by Cody, I'm going to mispronounce his last name, Flocker. He is the CMO of Jones Road Beauty. So that's a specific D2C brand. It's the second brand of Bobbi Brown. And he just puts like just really authentic kind of paragraph style newsletters out. And I feel like I'm like in his brain and he's having a conversation with me over coffee. So I really enjoy that one, Cody Flocker. And then finally, I have a newsletter that I read. It's by Justin Chia, and it's AI and content marketing. And he just gives you all the tips and tricks of using like ChatGPT to your fullest advantage. So those are my top 3.
It's kind of good that I kind of slipped in that question there because it kind of segues to the next question, ChatGPT and AI. How exactly are you using it as a marketer, and how can me and Luigi also use it?
Well, I love AI, and I do have ChatGPT 4. I pay for it. I find it invaluable. I use it every day. ChatGPT is amazing for doing a lot of the mundane legwork. It will never do 100% of the work for you, but if it can do 50% of my workload, I can be that much more efficient and effective and focus on priorities. So in the end, it lets me focus. I use it in specific ways of creating content. So I'll give it a prompt. I actually took a course on Coursera, AI and growth marketing, and I found that invaluable. It's a paid course. I think every marketer should have somewhat of like course or like professional development on AI and how to use it, because it's only as good as the user, as the prompt engineering. So crafting a really good prompt, giving it specific like who I am, my goal, and any base like contextual relevance to the prompt or to what I want it to give me. It can really help create social, email, like any type of content. It definitely too, like as you train the chat. It can learn the brand and your tone of voice, and then it can start creating like a whole brief for you. So then 70% of the base of the brief is done, and then you go in and you refine it and finesse it until it's totally complete.
One of the things we keep saying here at Stan is that when it comes to ChatGPT and these prompts, it's kind of like garbage in, garbage out. So it really depends on what the prompts that you're using. And one thing that we've also kind of at least feared before was that will AI take our jobs? And I think the answer that we had is that AI won't really be taking it, but the people who know how to use AI will be the ones taking our jobs.
Oh yeah, because they'll be able to do more.
Exactly. But like we've been touting about how great ChatGPT and AI tools are, would you say there are some downsides?
Yeah, I would. ChatGPT is going to give the same answer to the majority of people depending on the prompt. Like if I go and I'm like, what is growth marketing? And I'm sure millions of people, and they're going to give the same one, right? And so I think where value is for a marketer is really doing some personal deeper diving. So listening to your community and being part of conversations on various channels, depending on what you want to learn, right? And just having like another different nuanced perspective. Based on like your own professional research and your own sources. If you only use ChatGPT as your source, it's like writing we all went to college. It's like writing a paper and sourcing one resource. Like that, you would fail because there's so many different perspectives. So that would be my one warning is like, you can't just rely on that. It has to be in your tool belt, but it can't be your only tool.
Yeah, I was smiling a lot because when I was back in my college days, I tried to remove that one resource because if people saw that I was only using one, they would probably be like, hey, we have to fail you for this. So I would just conveniently leave out that source and be like, oh, it's all from me, from my brain.
Yeah. There's a lot more. I saw, I was like scrolling who's doom scrolling. I hate to say that, but there's a video that's going viral of a professor kicking one of his students out because she came in, took the test. It was it was like on their laptop, reviewing like 4 videos and writing, a summary. I'm not sure exactly what the assignment was, but the end result was, he goes, "Why are you closing your laptop?" "I'm done." He's like, "Pull out your laptop. I want to see your work." And she had just used ChatGPT. And he goes, "You're cheating." She goes, "No, I told it what to do. I'm not cheating." He's like, "Did you even watch the videos?" "I didn't have to. It did it for me." He's like, "Get out." Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of like old school marketers do it. Old school C-suite professionals. I don't want to say old school, just like, they're not millennials. That's what they're most concerned about, is that the critical thinking will be taken out of business.
Yeah, I think back in our day itself, we were also told not to use calculators because it would just not help with the critical thinking. It's just nowadays the calculator is just ChatGPT and it can do everything.
Yeah, it could do everything. But again, it's how you use it, because now I can focus on what matters. If I don't have to spend 4 hours building a campaign brief, that frees me up for a lot of stuff.
I think a lot of the things that we've been talking about in general is that if you are using ChatGPT, it needs to be, again, tweaked and, let's say, edited by a human. It needs to have that human value as well, where we can't just copy paste it and expect it to go well. One thing I was going to mention, because you mentioned doom scrolling, I was doom scrolling once as well, and I kind of saw this video about this man talking about how, we can test it on ourselves, but he was mentioning how if you ask ChatGPT to create an image of a clock and you tell it to give it specific time, let's say 4:50, it most likely will give you the times, which is I think 10:10, because it's the most attractive looking where the hands are. And I don't know how true that is, but like when it comes to certain things like this, do you think ChatGPT is just still maybe a few months or years behind in terms of creating new types of content?
Yeah, well, ChatGPT is a reflection of who we are as a society, because that's what it's learning from. So
I think that's one of the best ways to put it.
So the biases of us are in ChatGPT. We built it. We've made it to reflect us. So I think asking it to self-actualize or progress without us doing the same thing as like a society is unrealistic. So I don't know if it'll ever get to that. Like, we're in a lot of trouble if it self-actualizes without us alongside. Like we're in apocalyptic. Yeah, it's dystopia at that point. But yeah.
In the future, there will be kind of a lot more, let's say, computing power and whatnot. I think Willow is the next big thing people are talking about. What are your thoughts on just the future of AI and how it might affect our industry?
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I think there's going to be a whole lot of new tools. I think marketers will have a lot harder of a time to distinguish between the tools. And that's my general thought, is we'll just have to keep on researching, listening, using it, breaking it, finding new ways to incorporate it into our daily lives. And that's all I can say right now with certainty.
Right. One tiny little question before I kind of close it all off is, where does the ethics kind of fall into all of this when it comes to marketing and AI? Do we need to kind of announce that, hey, this marketing campaign was done by AI or this image was created by AI? Not really a problem, right?
I don't think I just don't think it's necessary. People don't care. I honestly, and going back to like walk in your customer's shoes, which is really important to do, and understanding your customers. If you were a customer, would you care if an image was created by AI or if somebody went out and took a photo of something? I don't know if I would, if that's my goal. If I'm like, I only want to use a business that doesn't use AI. I only want to hire a business. Then that's my goal, and I'm going to make sure it fits that. But if that's not your goal, I don't see how that would affect a choice or be unethical. Yeah.
I feel like in the first year of AI development stuff, it was a big problem because I think artists were using it and not telling people that was art generated by AI. But I think as the years kind of progressed, we were like, you know what, it's part of it anyway. It's cool as long as it's getting the end result done.
Isn't that funny? Because magazines have been using Photoshop for decades. It's just funny how people got all on their high horse about that. But then I'm like, but this has been part of our, creative process for a really long time.
Yeah. I feel like maybe they got a little bit like I wouldn't say jealous, but more a bit upset that, hey, we can't really compete with that level of, generation compared to what we were doing with Photoshop.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And again, it's just like the type of artist that you are. And maybe that's going to be your service differentiator. And then that will appeal to certain people.
All right. I feel like we can probably end it at that note. AI has a lot of things to offer and hopefully doesn't go and surpass where we are.
Yeah.
Ashley, I think you've done like a really great job in kind of explaining to me, Mario, the uneducated marketing person. Aaron is very professional in marketing and he knows everything, but this Mario does not know too much about it. So in a way to kind of thank you, I want to give you like maybe a 2-minute plug about, let's say, yourself and the company, just to kind of, promote you guys.
I am the director of growth marketing for Mir. Mir was established in 2010 out of Seattle, Washington, and they create stainless steel drinkware and coffee accessories and now have launched into the apparel space. And so there's a lot of competitors on the market. At the time in 2010, there was probably like Clean Canteen. There's a couple of them. There's a lot of them on the market now, as we all seen. But what's really special about Mir is that it was founded with a generosity level mission. So top line profits every year are given to a select list of nonprofit global partners to do with what they will. So a lot of clean water initiatives, a lot of farm initiatives, agriculture initiatives, just giving back, making sure that this isn't just a for-profit company, that it actually does have social and environmental impact. It's an amazing, small, privately run company, which means that, they can choose to be really authentic and keep true to their mission and their values. Beautiful product too. We design everything in-house. And I'm really excited to be here to take it to the next level.
I had to kind of mute because I think there's some construction going on behind me, but I hope it doesn't kind of interrupt the podcast. But thank you so much for this chat, Ashley. I'm pretty sure all our viewers and listeners are going to enjoy it. I know I learned a lot more. Again, me, Mario, Aaron knows everything. Please, boss, don't watch this episode. But again, thank you so much for all of this. And I didn't really think we'd go this long as well, but like it was a good chat and I'm glad that we had it.